You know what? Let's just go ahead and get started so we can maximize the time. For everyone that's on this call, there's a URL right now. If you guys can click that, that's going to be our form for this presentation. The idea here is to just put in your first name, your email address, first name, last name, email address, and LinkedIn URL. And I'll tell you about the email address here in a second. But then there's going to be four sections in there. The first three are going to be specific to these three topics: use workflows, create custom functions, and design custom interface. So the idea here is that we are going to table all questions until the end of our presentation. So the idea is that Shay, for example, on the first topic has 35 minutes to kind of talk through that particular topic. When we are about 5 minutes before that time frame is up, I'm going to give Shay a quick heads up that we have 5 minutes before we transition to the next topic. That's going to be your guys' opportunity to go ahead and write whatever questions come to mind specific to that first part of the topic. Then we'll transition to the next topic, and we're going to do the same thing. When we have about 5 minutes remaining, I'll give Shay a heads up. That'll be your guys' opportunity to go to the form on the second set of questions to talk about functions and type in any questions that you might have. Then we reserve roughly 20 minutes towards the end of the presentation to be able to go through the questions and give structured answers. And we're happy to hang even after the call formally ends for any additional questions that you guys might have. The goal is that we're trying to focus on a couple of things. One, continuity within the presentation so that we're consistent going from one and transitioning from one topic to the next. But also we want to make sure that you guys take the time to really just relax, absorb the amount, the information that's coming through, and learn something, right? You don't need to really be taking notes. We're going to record this call, so we'll be able to send the recording to you. And then while we're collecting your email addresses, so that one, the questions that we don't get to, we can follow up via email with the answers to the questions that you guys had posed. But two, also for future workshops, if you guys want to be invited to that, we can send you guys information on future workshops. So it's pretty quick, pretty easy. If you guys have any issues accessing this, please flag it right now. But I think we tested this a couple times. We should be all in a good spot. So what will make this smooth again, guys, is go ahead and open up the form, put your first name, last name, email, LinkedIn, and then just scroll down to the first question and just get ready to type in your questions once we get into that 5-minute reminder mark. So with that said, the agenda for today, we're going to spend 35 minutes talking about using workflows. We'll transition to creating custom functions. It's roughly about a 20-minute presentation. And then we'll transition to a final topic, design custom interfaces, which is an additional 20 minutes. So roughly a total of 75 minutes of content that we'll be talking through. So it's very comprehensive, very robust for the folks that are MindStudio ambassadors and participants, and you guys are familiar with the platform. Some of this might be familiar, some of it might not be. And for the folks that are brand new to MindStudio, certainly might be a bit overwhelming. So take a deep breath, take some time. We hope you enjoyed this presentation. And with that, with no further ado, why don't we go ahead and do some brief introductions, and then we'll go ahead and get started with our presentation.
Thank you, Sandokan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, about me, my name is Shay. I'm the Innovation and Security Manager at Systematics and the founder of IT Team. It's an AI consulting and training company. I'm using AI for almost 2 years now. I joined MindStudio in May 25 and became their official partner here in Israel. And I'm also a community ambassador and mentor. And I really believe deeply in sharing knowledge. This is why I joined this mission to create workshops to help other community members to become a better version of themselves. Sandokan.
Let's try real quick. I'm going to click the mute all button because, and then just unmute yourself if you get muted. All right. Yeah, all right, guys. So my name is Sandokan Stage. I am the founder of Stage X. It's a global management consulting practice. My background, 25 years in technology in a variety of different roles, system implementation, service delivery, program and project management, and recently joined MindStudio and became one of their ambassadors here, part of the first cohort back in July, and got my level 3 AI agent developer certification. So pretty robust background. So apologies for the novel that you guys get to see here, but that's who I am. Thank you for joining.
Great. Thank you for joining. Let's start. I'll start with the forest analogy. It's something intuitive to help us see all the resolution of the components in AI agents. The highest level is the forest. It's the ecosystem. We call it orchestrator. MindStudio sometimes take one of their AI agent and then package it to one block. And then you can call it from other AI agent. This is called orchestration. We're not going to touch it in this subject matter here in this workshop, but I wanted you to know this. The second resolution, it's a smaller one, it's the trees, which means the AI agent themselves. You have more than 100 AI agent of MindStudio, which you can remix and reverse engineer them and understand how it's working. And then you can also use them or create your own, and we'll demonstrate some of them today. Another layer is the workflows, is the branches. It's a lower resolution. It means that in each AI agent, you can have as many workflows as you want. And this is something that we're going to talk about in the first section. And the last resolution is the leaves, which means the blocks. This is the smallest components in MindStudio. It can be their own blocks or a custom function that we'll create if we don't have this kind of functionality in MindStudio. So please keep this in mind when you're planning AI agent. You want to see all the resolution before you start building anything. Okay, some common use cases using workflows. The first one is batch task. The one who were to the boot camps had to create an AI agent that scrape multi URLs. So you've already saw this kind of example. We'll show you another one here, multi-query a RAG database. The second use case is workflow jumping, when you want to jump from one workflow to another. And the third one is using an external orchestrator like Base44. It's a platform for creating application, and we want to trigger different workflows via API calls. That means that we'll call workflows outside MindStudio. So before we dive to the demo, we are going to see how we use loops. We are going to see how we are going to elaborate jumps, and last but not least, Base44 orchestrator. Okay, let's start with the run workflow as a batch. I'm going to talk about the challenge that I solved here. I have a customer that has many PDFs, huge PDFs, 300, 400 pages of what's new. They sell SolidWorks, which is an engineering program. And when they face customers, they have to answer questions about different topics. Now, the main challenge was that if you put it in a RAG and you query the RAG directly, you'll get only 5 answers. But some of the topics has more than 20 subtopics, and they wanted all the what's new subtopics. So I created 2 workflows here. The first one is asking the engineer for the year of interest, meaning if the customer is trying to upgrade from SolidWorks 2024 to SolidWorks 2025, then it will ask him for the year. Then it will build a topic list because I want all the subtopics of the certain topic. And then we'll create a query to our run workflow. Then we have another workflow that query this RAG and returns the information back, and then we display the report. Okay. by the way, this is called Draw.io. It's free platform like Visio. I use it a lot to design my AI agent before I build any one of them. So let's see it here. I want to run it to demonstrate it. So I'll choose 2025. And then it's building the topic list from the index. Here is the index. Let's say I want sheet metal. What's new in sheet metal under SolidWorks? So these two build the queries, and then I'm running the workflow. Now see, it will run as many times as the queries. It can be 10, 20, 25. No matter what, it will gain all the information. And then it generates the reports. And here we have the report with all the information. It's very useful when you're trying to query a RAG and get all the information that's needed. I want to show you something here, how it's working. The, the workflow of querying is very simple. It receives the queries, and then it queries the RAG for 3 maximum results, and then it returns the query results as a JSON array of all the answers. Here in the main workflow, you can see here that we're using the advanced feature. Now, this is something that most of us don't know how to use. I didn't know how to use it until I was in the course of Dimitri presenting the query multiple websites. And then I realized that there is an option to send many queries to one workflow, meaning I will create the queries before I'm sending them. And there is a structure that you have to keep in mind, and I'll show you in a second. And then for each item, each one of the item, it will create a separate query. Now, when creating queries, it should look something like that. I'll show you here. This is the topics. This is the queries. You can see here, I'll make it bigger. The queries should look like a JSON object, an array. This is the only option to query in this format, as I showed in the run workflow. In order to create something like that, I created a custom function. And I use that. We are not going to go over this function, but I want you to basically understand that you can create out of a subject. I can create something like that. It's a very simple function, but I have this kind of information. And when I test it, it will create an array. Okay. So here in this demonstration, we are using this run workflow to query many times this RAG. This is very useful when working with RAG. And as you can see here, there are many files here. I can put even 100 files, and it will query all of them. So this is the first example. The second one is a challenge. We are going to jump now, another use case. I use MindStudio. I'm consuming a lot of YouTube videos. Now, I was very happy to know that MindStudio created an AI agent. You already seen that. I'll open MindStudio here, the browser extension. Now, you are familiar with this one, YouTube to Executive Summary. It's very useful. When you run it, it will go over the video, the information then will be presented to like something like that. You have the video, key insights, all the sections in the video, and you don't have to watch all the video. You can go to the part that you are most interested. This was very useful for me. But since I consume many videos, at least 3 to 5 a week, I didn't find my hands and legs with all the documented. So I thought about a solution that might help me. I wanted to improve this AI agent. I have many subjects that I learn about AI tools, LinkedIn best practices, MindStudio, of course, AAA is how to build your own AI agency. Then I wanted to improve the AI agent so I can save all the data to a database. And I used Google Sheet. I just created a Google Sheet with different sheets inside for different topics. And then I've created this AI agent. Very simple. When I'll start it, in a second, I'll show you. There is a menu instead of starting scraping the page content, and it will jump to another workflow. All of them are the same. If you look inside, all of these workflows are the same. The only thing that I've changed is the destination, the sheet destination. And the first part is the YouTube executive summary. This is a remix of MindStudio AI agent. And I added 2 blocks here. One of them is creating a CSV, because when you want to save information to a Google Sheet, you have to struct it as a CSV format. And the last one is saving to my my Google spreadsheet. So the main difference between all of these workflows are only this block. And now if I go to a video and I want to run it, it should open the menu. And this is a MindStudio video. I will choose MindStudio, and you see it jumped to, I'll show you here. It jumped to the MindStudio flow. You see MindStudio flow here, and now it's getting all the information. In a few seconds, we'll have this video summarized with the links, with the report, saved to my Google Sheet. It will come here. Now, this is very useful when you're trying to digest many videos, and I'm telling you, this is a great university in YouTube. You have a lot of information there. And this way I can use another agent that I've created to query this database and get any information about a certain topics. Let's see if it finished. It's still running. This guy is called Liam Otley, is giving more than 105 hours of videos how to create an AI agency. There's no way I could see all these videos. So I took this AI agent and I scraped anything. There is 75, I think, videos here. Some of the videos are 4 hours. It's a lot of content. And now I have all his wisdom in one Google Sheet. Now he's generating the CSV row for the Google Sheet. When it ends, it will be there. Now, pay attention, please. If you want to create another subject, it's very simple. I can push this button, duplicate. Now, let's say I want to make it for YouTube channel best practices. If you want to build a channel in YouTube, let's rename it YouTube. I only need to change this one to the new Google Sheet. YouTube, come to the main flow here, add another option, rename it to YouTube, add another block here, a jump one, and then I can choose this one, go to this new jump, I'll choose YouTube, bring it here, and finish. That's it. I have another subject to scrape information about how to create your best YouTube channel. Very easy. Now keep this in mind. When you create a good workflow that it's working for you, you can always copy it to another even AI agent. I can copy it and paste it in another AI agent. This is efficiency. I'm saving time. I don't have to do all of this again. It's the same about function, blocks, everything can be copied in MindStudio. So keep this in mind when you have good working workflows. If you keep it generic, you can always copy them. If it's not generic, you can alter the the workflow. But if it's generic, it's only copying and sending a variable and it's working. Let's see if it's finished. Yes, it's finished. We'll go to our MindStudio. Here is the new line. And of course, we have the video, we have the link, all the information, key insights section, conclusion. So this was the second part. The third demonstration that I want to show you, this is an application that I've created for myself. The challenge was when I'm driving my car, I have sometimes more than 1 hour free time, and I wanted, instead of reading news, hearing the news by audio, podcast. So I created this application, base 44, but it actually do, I can add article, and here I'm calling MindStudio. I can choose a topic. Then I will select the source, like the version. And then I can choose a time frame. Let's choose last week. When I'll push this button, it will run an AI agent in MindStudio with a certain workflow. I'll press the fetch. I'll show you here what it's doing. So we are here in the orchestrator. We want to fetch fresh news from, let's say, the verse, and then we use MindStudio in the backend. We are calling this workflow scrape news. It will do a Google search and then scrape the URL and return the information back to the application. So this is the UI. This is the front end, but we are using MindStudio as the brain in the back. I'll show you the brain in a second. The second function in this application is digest. After I'll have these articles, I want to create maybe a digest from one of them. And then I can always choose the news that I'm interested in. I will create a digest. And finally, I can create a podcast out of it and listen in my car. So I'm using it a lot. It's nice. It was created 2 weeks ago, and it's working. Front end is base 44, back end is MindStudio, and MindStudio is very powerful when you combine it with such an application. You see all the information that it gathered. We can read the full article, but we don't want that because this is not the reason we created this. So I'll create a digest, let's say from this article. Again, it's calling MindStudio in the backend. I'll show you. This is the brain. You see many workflows here. And if we look in the debugger, you can see here, it's calling the digest. The first one was scrape news. The second one is digest flow. So you can see here, it's amazing that you can call each one of them out of MindStudio. The first one is this workflow. It goes, create a search, then generate a text, and run another workflow with the URLs, scraping those URLs. We've made this agent in MindStudio Bootcamp, and the digest is very simple. Scrape the URL and generate TLDR. And in a few seconds, we'll have it here. I'll go to digest. Here we have it. I can view the details. I can read the digest. Why it matters, action for builders, risk limitation. Let's say I want to create a podcast out of it. And I can press this one, create a podcast. Again, it's shooting an API call. Here you have it. It's creating the podcast for us. Now, it's amazing. Imagine what you can create in MindStudio using this power, because I can run each and every function and workflow in the backend and bringing as a user interface to the customer. In the end, I'll receive something like that. I will have this podcast. I can listen. If I listen for this podcast, I can put V inside. I can create my own playlist and add some more podcasts to the road. This way I can cover a lot of information using an application. So you see, It's very simple. It's not complicated to call. There is a documentation in MindStudio how to call through API to AI agent, and namely workflows. Okay, so we finished this section about workflows. Again, we had the first one was batching queries to a subordinate workflow. This was the first one. The second one, we saw how to yes, we saw this one, the jump one. So we can jump to other workflows. And the third one, we saw the way that we created an application that calling APIs, through APIs, they're calling workflows in the backend. Okay, so you have 1-2 minutes to write any questions if you want, and we'll answer them after the next two part of the demonstration.
Guys, so just gentle reminder, the link is in the chat. So if you click on that link, it'll take you to the form, put your contact information in there, and then go to the first question regarding workflows. And whatever questions that come to mind, please go ahead and jot that in. Once we go through the entire presentation, you'll be able to submit the form and we'll be able to collect the information and have our conversation. All right, Shay.
Okay. Now we go to custom functions. Custom functions help us create custom blocks in MindStudio. When I came to MindStudio, I was already working with few platforms. One of them is Agent. Agent is a platform for creating avatars, and another platform is 11 Labs, creating text-to-speech voices. Now, I have already created my own cloned voices, me and my avatars in 11 Labs. Now, I wanted to use them. In the beginning, when I came in May, there was no option to use custom 11 Labs voices. So I created my own function. And creating functions not only for integrating with other platforms, but I'll demonstrate in a second that I can even alter data, and it's very, very fast and efficient. It doesn't cost you anything. Running a function in MindStudio costs $0. And if you're only altering data, you don't need to use AI model for that. And I'll demonstrate it. And the example that I'll show you is data filtering. Let's say I have a Google Sheet that contains many rows, and I want to filter them by one column. You can use AI, but it will cost you money, and it will take a lot of time to do it, and it's not always returning the exact response. Now, MindStudio gave us an option to create the custom function using prompt. So you don't have to be a coder, and I'll demonstrate this one. It's the 80-20% rule. 80% of the time it will work, 20% it won't work. Don't worry. You just need to iterate again until you get it right, okay? And here, this is the best practices from prompt engineering. You put the instruction on top, you give an example of the input that you're giving this custom function, and then you give the order. I want to filter from these 3 feedbacks, the one that has pending, because I'm bringing a lot of rows and I want to treat only the pending rows. Let's demonstrate it. I created an application. This is an AI agent. It's part of an application of a traveling agency. The challenge was that the customer sent to my customer is sending to his customers. The travel agency sent a Google form. The customer then filled the form about their travel. And when they finish updating the form, this is filled up by the Google form. They have a Google Sheet with all the feedbacks. Now I created 2 columns here. One is status for the human and one is for the AI. Now I gave the customer an option to put the feedbacks that he wants to analyze in pending state. This way he can analyze with AI this feedback, and then send email to the customer. So here we have 3 pending rows, and we don't want to give the AI all these rows. It's enormous. It takes a lot of time and it costs us a lot of money. So we want to filter only the pending rows. If we come here, we get the feedbacks from the Google Sheet. It's the main workflow. Then we analyze the feedback. We are trying to understand what kind of rows we need to analyze. And then we want to analyze the feedback to see if it's positive, negative, if it's neutral. And then we can finish and have a report or jump to another workflow and send email to our customers. Here, we'll have the feedback list to process. We'll craft an email for each one of them. I always put a human in the loop when I'm posting to LinkedIn, creating emails or creating presentations with Gamma. I will never let AI do all the work. He's doing the heavy lifting and I'm doing the human quality assurance that I got what I wanted. And then I use a custom function to use my domain, not MindStudio domain, my domain to send emails. And then I run another workflow, a batch one, to log all the email that we send to the customers. So let's go to the demonstration here. These 3 will bring the information. This is fetch customer feedback. This one supposed to go to my account. Let's see that I'm not in the right. Let me change something here. Okay. Yeah, I want to see if it's opening. Yes, this is the form. Well, the first one is fetching all the information from the Google Sheet. It's similar to the posting that we showed earlier. It's just the opposite around. It will go to this Google Sheet and bring the information. And then I created a custom function to pass the information and filter. Let's look about the filter. The filter is very simple. I have this data. Some of the rows is with pending, some of them is email send, and I want to create this function that will bring only the pending. And in a second, I'll show you how to create it. And then here, I'm analyzing the feedback. I want to understand what's happened with this customer feedbacks. I display the analysis, and then I give the customer an option to finish, and he has a report or send email. It's a jump to another workflow. This is the workflow. Here, you see the human in the loop. I will take each feedback, create the email as HTML, do a checkpoint block to present it to the customer, where he can review the email and revise it. If he approves, then it generates a subject. This is a custom function using platform called Resend with my domain. I created this integration without MindStudio. I can ask MindStudio, and I'll show you in a minute. Maybe I'll show you now. There is an option in MindStudio to request a connector. They give you, I'll show you how to get to this link. They give you an option. I requested 2 connections, one to Gamma, if you know Gamma. It's creating carousel presentations, and one for 11 Labs, and Sean created them in 1 week, each one of them. And I will show you how to reach this form and submit it. They have great support in this term. They are very efficient. Okay. So, oops, here. So after sending the email, I'm trimming. This is another function. I have 3 feedbacks. Now I want to deal only with the 2 left. So this is a function to trim the 1 feedback that I already dealt with. And then I go to the next feedback, create another email, checkpoint, generate subject, email. Then again, I'm trimming the last feedback and generating the mail. And when it will finish, it will be empty. It will show the customer there are no feedbacks to analyze anymore. Okay, so how do I create the function? I want to demonstrate it. I'll go to another workflow. This is the workflow from the beginning. This is the fetch. You already saw we fetch the Google Sheet, and then we have parsed it. And now I want to create the function. Let's see if it's working. I have a generate function here, and then I'll do something like that. I have a variable that contains JSON data, like in this example. And now you ask yourself, how do you get this example? Now I can get this example from the debugger, because if I run it, then if I run it, I do have the information in this past feedback, and I can copy it. So this is the example. I'm trying to parse this one, to filter this one, this variable. So I have the information. I can tell him, this is the information I'm trying to deal with, and this is an example. And I want only the two pendings, not the following up, not the follow-up. So let's go back to the function, generate. I'll copy this one, and I'll give the example. Copy the example here from a text pad. This is the example, and now I'll give it the instruction. It takes about 1.5 minutes to create the function. I'm telling you that most of the time it's working. If it's not working, I'll just try again until I get it right. Sometimes I use ChatGPT to improve it, but most of the function the generator is really good in MindStudio. Another place, while it's creating this, another place that you should know here is the community. The community is another place to request features. So if you have any features that you are missing, meaning you're trying to build something and you didn't find a block, or you weren't able to create a custom function, this is another good place to post and ask MindStudio to create this feature. So keep this in mind. This is the MindStudio community, and I'll put it in the chat. One second. There, you have it in the chat, and I'll also post this one. This is for connectors. It seems to be done. Created a function. Sandokan, what do you say? Will it work or not?
Of course it's going to work.
Input data must be an array. Let's put it in the main and see, how did we call it? And that's a function. Filter one. Let's see if it's working. I'll add it here. Run function, choose filter one. My variable is this one. I want to filter this variable, and I want to save it as test. Let's try it. See if it's working. No, it didn't work. I told you 80-20. I created this one yesterday, and it did get it right. I'll show you. I don't want to waste time, but I promise you it's working. I'll run it again. Huh? I didn't put input variable. Yeah. Too fast. Okay. Now let's get it right. No, it didn't get it right. Okay, then we have to demonstrate it here. Let's run this agent. but I promise you it's working because you'll see it working here, hopefully. Murphy laws. It's bringing all the feedbacks. Now it brings the feedbacks and is here in this main workflow. And this is a feedback analysis. As you can see, it recognized the three pending here, the three pending feedbacks, those. So if we'll go to the debugger, we should see that it filtered, this is all the information, all the rows from the Google Sheet. And if we go here, here is the three pending. The function is working. It received all the feedbacks, all the rows, and it returns only the three pending rows. Now, because we demonstrate, show you how the send email works. Now we're jumping inside this send email flow. It's a jump. And it's creating the feedback list. Formatting the HTML emails.
Shy, we're coming up on the 5-minute mark for this segment. And so this is a heads up for people. If you move to the second question around functions, it's your opportunity for any fresh questions that you're thinking about to go ahead and put those in there in your form.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Here is the reason for this action. So the customer can understand why it decided to send a thank you feedback. Okay. And you can change the mail here. Let's say add 5% discount on next tour with us. It will revise the email. This is a human in the loop mechanism. Very useful. Even when you're creating a LinkedIn post, it's very useful. You can always alter the post before you post it. Here you see it. And if I press send email, it will use the custom function, send it through my domain. And now it's analyzing the next feedback. It's streaming this one and then analyzing the second one. And it will bring it again to the customer. This is Django, dear value customer, blah, blah. And again, I can alter this email and send it, and you get the idea. So it's very useful to use custom function. I'm using them a lot. And another thing to keep in mind, like copying workflows, I copy a lot of this function from one agent to another. And then I have something that streams data. I have something that filters data. I have a custom function that turns JSON to CSV or CSV to JSON. I have many custom functions. Now it's like my own personal blocks in MindStudio. It keeps me more efficient. I create agent super quick now. I can create something very complex in 1 or 2 hours. I couldn't do it 2 months ago because I gain momentum and I have a lot of now custom function, and I almost cover each and every use case that I'm using, and it's very powerful. So this was this demonstration, and we'll go to the third one about custom interfaces. Okay. This is the last one. Okay, why it matters. The one of you who use custom interface, you can do many things. If the first impression is enormous. I use AI agent here at Systematics, and when I change the interface of the input and the output, I see that the user are now using those AI agent more often because it's something that invite them to use it. I can use my own brand, the company brand, and it's very easy to customize it. You'll see it's more easy than custom function, and we'll see it in the demonstration. So it's vibe coding, but you can create anything. And interface is the face of your agent. Now MindStudio gives us an option to share AI agent with someone that doesn't have an account in MindStudio. So imagine that if you want a customer and you want to impress them, you can create an AI agent with a custom interface of their company logo and color scheme and share it with them. They don't have to create MindStudio account. They can use it, and it's very useful when you're trying to sell AI agents. I've done it many times. A customer comes with an idea or a challenge. I take it, create a MVP, the only the skeleton, then I share it with a custom interface. I really feel a difference in the approach from the side of the customer when it's something that looks like he wants, like his site, for example, or the product that he's trying to sell. So it's not only visual appeal, but it's focus designed, and you can create brand consistency. It's very useful. I'll focus on two. There are three now, but I'll focus here in the demonstration on two of them. There is the input interface and the output interface. And it's a vibe coding. Vibe coding in concept is writing in simple words. What are you trying to do here? You don't have to be a coder for this. So in the demo, we'll custom the input block and then the output block, and we see end-to-end experience. Let's go and build it. Okay. You all know this agent. I'm running and you recognize it. I want to create a profile picture, a new profile picture. Let's take Sandokan. Sandokan, do you allow me? Thanks. Now let's make
No
Sandokan.
guarantees though. It's a very serious, serious face there.
I will make you Tron style. You like Tron? There is a new movie now.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's see what it looks like. I might use it for my updated LinkedIn profile pic. We'll let the group vote on that one.
No, it didn't create you as an AI. Wow, amazing.
It thinks I'm AI already.
Let's try mine. It's something with you.
Story of my life. Shy.
This is my avatar. It's not real me. We created it in the course in the MindStudio bootcamp.
You know how it goes, Shy. This is a demo, and nobody's ever been successful in a demo, right? It's
Yeah,
always
yeah.
when you don't have the demo, it works.
No, not creating. New profile picture.
Actually, click the continue button on the bottom right, because I think that just displayed the original photo. And then bottom right, click
Oh,
continue. I think that's where you
let's see the
just
debugger.
one step. Yeah, one step you skipped, I think. So when you run it,
Ah,
there you go.
there, there it is. Okay,
Now
so
I'm
let's
curious
see
to know
yours.
what I look like. Let's go back to
Uh-huh.
me.
Wow,
Wow, that looks
amazing.
worse. Gosh, it took my face and made me even more intimidating.
Okay, but it's running with the. I want to run it without the custom interface. Just 1 second. It's running with the custom interface. It ruined my demonstration. I'll try it again. Sorry about that. Let's take this one. Get profile picture. I played with it before the demonstration, so I ruined it. In a second, we create the picture. Now, this is very simple. Input block, run workflow, created the picture. Simple, but I want to make it more fancy. So I'll come here and I'll change it from native to custom. Edit. This is important. Please pay attention. Before you start vibe coding, do several things here. Please use Claude 4.5. Okay, this is important because it is the best AI model when you're coding. Okay. Second, put it on maximum. Okay, so it won't have any limitation. This is the tokens that it can receive. I will start it. I'm copy and pasting, but I want to save time, but we'll read it together and we'll see how it goes. If it's stuck like that, refresh the page, okay, because it's beta and sometimes it doesn't load the components. You must be in a situation that all the components are loaded. This is the environment of the development. And we'll see that it's working. Why did it open this one? Unbelievable. Again, I know why. I'll delete it. Already played with us, so we saved the information. Let's do it again. Design interface. I'll change it. Use Claude. Maximum start. Starting. It's loading packages. This is development packages. Create the environment in the backend. And now we can talk to this builder. Yeah. We wanted to be here, empty interface. I will put something like that. Let's make it bigger. This is a profile picture editor that helps the user change their profile picture using modification variable. Create something beautiful. You receive the profile picture in a variable named profile picture, and the modification is in a variable called named modification. Very simple, straightforward. Okay? These are the two input variables that I'm giving this custom interface. Now it will try to write the code.
While it's doing this, for the folks that are new to the concept of what vibe coding is, just think of that as a way to get enhanced prompts, right? So when you're working with AI agents, even when you're going to ChatGPT, you are prompting it to do something specific. The idea around the vibe coding is it takes something as basic as build me a doll that can review financial reports and, analyze XYZ, something that basic of a prompt that you would put in. Then the vibe coding will just take it to the extreme and go really, really almost comprehensive type of a prompt. So that's basically what vibe coding is it's enhancing your already existing prompt. Igor, we will get to questions towards the end of the presentation. So please hold that thought or table that thought until the end of the call. Thank you. But that's what vibe coding is for folks that are new to it. Hopefully that gives some context to what we're working on.
It didn't create the text box for the modification. So I can ask it to edit. Let's see what's happening. Oh, great. Now I have to compile it. Compile it that means that it will, in simple word, it will create a package that we can use in MindStudio. If we won't compile, it won't work. So I will compile it. Okay. Now I can publish it. We cover the custom interface of the input. Bye-bye. Now, instead of displaying, I want to use something like generate asset. I will remove this. Okay. And then I'll add the generate asset. Okay. Just want to finish here. And you can be here. Thank you very much. We'll choose the custom interface again. I'll change it. Same best practices using Cloud IQ 4.5, maximum, start the environment.
Well, this is doing that. One thing that I wanted to point out that Shay was doing is, especially for the new folks to MindStudio, is a good understanding that MindStudio is model agnostic. So there's a number of different options for you to be able to use to be able to run your agent depending on what you're trying to achieve. Each of those models have a number of different tokens and costs that are different associated depending on what you're using. So when Shay was going down there and clicking on that Claude 4.5 Haiku button, you notice that there was a laundry list of different type of models to use. So key description there really is that MindStudio is model agnostic, and they're continuously always working to get the latest and greatest for you guys.
Thank you. Again, we write in simple words. This page should present the user with the new profile picture. Please add the original picture, profile picture on top, and the modification. We do put it a variable because it might miss it. And then the modification request under. And again, where is the modification? It's the modification variable. And finally, the new profile picture. Very simple. By the way, Claude is the best AI model in writing code for now. Huh? It didn't write. Let's use test data. Yes, it did it. Compile. I'll show you again what I've done here. This is something important. Before running the AI agent, you want to test it on, we already have in the debugger few runs of this AI agent. Now I want to test it before I run because it costs me money. So they gave an option here to load from another run. If there is some information, I can import it. And then I'll see this preview of this information. So it's very useful. Now I see that it cuts the heads. Now I want to make it more portrait. The pictures, portrait, please adjust. If I'm happy with that, I can compile it. Thank you very much. Publish. Thanks again.
All right, Shay, this is the 5-minute warning for those folks that are following along with the form. It's your opportunity to move to the last question in regard to the custom interface. So go ahead and put in your questions there.
Great, thank you, Sandokan. I'm finishing this demonstration and we're over, and we only have the bonus agent. Voila, you have it. Very simple, very easy to customize. Play with that. You can do magnificent things. If we had more time, I would show you another few complex one, but you can create anything here. Sandokan, are we doing the bonus now?
Yeah, so we can do the bonus now, and then we'll go ahead and talk about the last question that's on the form, and then we'll go from there. So, yeah, you want to set the context of this agent,
Yeah.
how you came about doing it?
Yes. I have a daughter, she's a teenager, and she and her friends are building nails, custom nail with lac and gel and everything. And she asked me, Father, we have a problem. Before we're doing the building, it takes a lot of time and money. Can you create an agent that will show us how it will be on our fingers? Meaning, we'll picture our hands, and then you'll create a picture with the custom like gel that we create. Okay? I told her I don't understand anything about it, but let's try it. So I've built this AI agent. They can load their hands tone scale, and then they can choose what colors of, I don't understand in colors here, so I'll choose those. Then the texture, let's say glitter, shape, round, finish glossy, style. She likes this one. And then it will run another workflow, and it will create 5 variation of the nails with these colors. I'm still building that because she wants pictures and drawings, and you never get them satisfied. But it's fun. It's a great quality time with your kids. Here it is, creating 5. Run the workflow, the batch workflow, and create 5 pictures. Here running. Nail design collection. So we have this one. I think it's nice. Okay, we finished.
All
That's
right,
it, folks.
guys. So, last question on the sheet is really just for enhancements, right? This is our let's call it the MVP approach. I definitely appreciate everyone taking the new format of holding off on questions and using the form to be able to ask those questions. We're obviously kind of testing out, beta testing like different approaches that's going to be the most optimal for the audience in terms of getting you guys what you need, but also giving us some continuity and consistency during the presentation. That last question is meant more for be candid, constructive, candid feedback. The goal here is that we want to be able to take this type of a workshop and convert it into a 4 or 6 hour workshop. As you guys can see, the material we compacted is very, very comprehensive. So it could definitely be information overload. You might end up sometimes losing things in context. So we want to make sure that we're pacing at a comfortable level, but at the same time, we're trying to be mindful of everyone's schedule as well. So give us the feedback. What we'll do right now, we're a little ahead of schedule. So let's take the next 5 minutes. If you guys want to go grab a coffee, bathroom break, or use the time to write the questions that you guys didn't have a chance to do, question 1, 2, or 3. Let's say a quarter till, we'll come back and start reviewing some of those questions and address those questions. All right, so quarter till, we'll be back. Guy, do you want to check your email? So you have it.
Sandokan, do
All
you
right.
want me to send you the Tron image?
Oh yeah. Well, I might be scaring more people off with that image. So
Okay, so let's go to the movie together, to the third
let's,
chapter.
let's do it. I'm coming to Israel. We'll do it. Make way. Hold a sign that says Sandatron, and I'll know
Sandokan.
it's Sandatron. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So, before we go into the questions, one more time, guys, I wanted to iterate like our gratitude for you guys like participating in this workshop. This is the first of many workshops to come, and there's definitely opportunity for us to position our messaging and our images and our content and all that. And so you'll see as we progress, a lot of this presentation becomes a bit more smooth, I suppose, right? It's a lot of information. I think our goal for this particular one was to say, hey, you know what? At a very high level, let us show you guys some of the capabilities, right? And that was just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to MindStudio. At the end of the day, we want to be able to take some of this and be a bit more granular. Everything from a concept of MindStudio 101 to more of the advanced configurations and integrations using things like APIs and integrations and webhooks and things like that. So uh, depending on your guys' comfort level, you guys will be able to quickly, and we'll make sure we make it clear saying that this is perfect for beginners or intermediate or advanced level individuals that want to participate. And so that's why we're looking for that feedback of figuring out, okay, as we move forward, like, does the 2 hour concept work? Okay, if we transition to, say, a half-day workshop, would that be even better? Even things like this for a lot of the folks that are OGs for MindStudio, meaning you guys were part of cohort 1 and cohort 2. You guys know that part of the format is typically, we would ask questions throughout the presentation, right? And so that was one way of doing it. This time around, we wanted to try a different or pivot and see if we can, instead of asking questions during the presentation so that we keep the continuity of the presentation, we just punt those questions into a form so that we have it cataloged, but also give you guys a quick heads up with those 5-minute warnings to give you guys an option to be able to type questions specific to that particular topic before we transition. So we'll be learning and seeing, hey, does this work for you guys? Do we need to make a slight adjustment? Does everybody hate that kind of a concept? And let's just do questions as we go. So we'll figure out how we're going to do this as we move forward. So definitely appreciate you guys doing that part. Um, So I suppose with that being said, we definitely have a bit more time on our hands, so that gives us a good opportunity to even just jump in. But maybe we start with the questions that I see on the sheets that were submitted, and then after that we can jump to any additional questions outside the sheets. Does that work for everybody? Would do as Dimitri say, thumb up, down, maybe sideways. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to start with the first topic, right? The first topic was around workflows. And so I will ask the question. If you guys are comfortable, I can certainly call your name out. But if for now, I'll just ask the question. But if you guys want credit to the question, I'll make sure to give credit to the question. So the first question is going to be around RAG. And it's is there a preferred format for RAG workflows like PDF, .txt, JSON? And then the second portion of that question is how big should each be? Like recommended is 25 pages or whatnot.
Okay, for the first answer, it can be several kind of document. MindStudio, there is no difference because it builds the RAG on the fly. So if I'll go back to, I will share my screen, of course. And I want to go back to
And
the,
while he's doing that, I'll call out specifically that PDF is acceptable, CSV is acceptable, Word documents, Excel, plain text, those things are acceptable. And then when you talk about the limitation or the capacity, so to speak, this is all documentation within MindStudio as well. So 500 megabytes per file
Mhm. And
is
150 files max. Now,
mhm.
there is no difference when I checked it. There is no difference if you will load PDF. It will always create it will extract the text and then will create the raw chunk. This is the answers that it thinks that are relevant chunks of data. And then this is the raw vectors. This is a probability that this answer is close to this answer. This is some kind of mathematical calculation that the RAG is doing when you're loading a PDF. So when you're asking a question, it will go to this chunk or to this chunk. Okay, so there is no difference if you load any kind of document. All of them are working. I will tell you that if you load something with a lot of pictures, then the file will be huge, but you're not using these pictures. Meaning, let's open this one. It doesn't have any information about the picture, but it consumes space. So if you can change the PDF to be something without the pictures, then you'll gain more space in the RAG. So I can make an agent that will scrape this PDF, extract all the data without the pictures, and then a best practice will be to upload this document because I don't want to be, it's huge, but it's useless. It doesn't do anything with the pictures. Okay, so this is something that you should think about. And we answered the second question that this is the limitation here, 15 megabyte per file and 5 million words total, 150 files max. But you can create some RAG databases, meaning if I have, let's say, more than 150 files, then I can create 5 RAGs. And if I come to the build here, then instead of querying one RAG, I can create another workflow that then query the other one. So I could duplicate it here, okay? And then here, add a block, something like that. And this one we call the second. And now I'll put it in another variable. So I can query different RAGs. I did it in one agent. A customer needed to query different RAGs. Then I have one that queries the first one for one kind of products, and the other one is querying the second one for the procedures. So it's possible to do it. It's very flexible.
Okay. And that question, I'm going to take back what I said earlier. Comes from Vanessa. So Vanessa, let me give you the opportunity. Did we answer your question, or do you have a clarifying question?
You answered my question. The second question about the page sizes. So I just was wondering if there's like I see it does the extract text, so that's good advice that you could take the pictures out.
Mhm.
And so I was just wondering, like for the embedding and the chunking, like if you turn in a 300-page document, would you put that in there? Or would you put in like 10 30-page documents?
I don't see any difference. I tried it. I tried it.
Okay.
There is no difference. There is a difference in the prompt of the query. Yes, when you're querying the database, it's very important how you query. We can do a workshop on that, but it's a full subject because querying, I played with that for many hours. I see different result if you understand how to query the RAG and when you receive the information, how you analyze it. Okay, so this is one way is to write the right query. And another way is when you receive the information, how do you deal with the information? So there is another block that take all the information. Then this is the question, for example, these are the questions, these are the answers. Now match them, okay? Because it can receive a lot of data and sometimes it brings some hallucinations. I didn't ask for this, but it thinks that it's relevant. Okay, so there is some prompt engineering when you receive the data. You have to play with that for iterate with it a little bit.
Next question, again, around the first category or first topic, the workflow is, it comes from Joseph. Do you have a best practice for number of iteration or complexity to justify a workflow and how to remain scalable? Optional, yes, no pathing, for example. So one of my best practice, and I kind of steal this one from Shay at the end of the day, is keep it simple first, right? At the end of the day, I think Shay, your Lego analogy works or sits really well with me, right? Starting small and then building it from there or scaling it from there, I think is probably one of the best practices, because I know when I began, I always try to make it overly complex. And the trouble with that is obviously, you know, when something breaks or troubleshooting or whatnot. So keeping the workflows lean and modular, and then also keeping the same considerations when you're keeping or developing like your sub workflows, for example, I think is one thing. Obviously, probably less than 30 blocks maybe is probably acceptable. You know, anywhere from 5 to 15 blocks is probably a good best practice. Anything else to add?
No, it's a
Shay?
good advice. Yes, I'm using what you said. I'll show them a complex one. And you see it's a little bit messy because all the blocks are in the first, most of the blocks are in the first workflow. This is the one that I want the hackathon with. Um, 1 second and I share my screen. You see, it's a little bit messy. I didn't start like this. As Sandokan said, I started very small, created the first blocks. Then I saw in the debugger, I saw the outcome. Then I came here, create this part, then I move forward. But if I build it today, I'll never build something like that, so massive in the first workflow. I have many workflows here, but you see, it's massive. I would send most of these blocks here to another workflow. So when I do create now, let's say I created this one, and I think that these two blocks are something that I can use in another agent, then I will copy it to another workflow, send a request, maybe a run batch or jump and return, and then they are not here. It's more clear, it's more logic. So as Sandokan said, I will start small. I will never create something like that again. It
Yeah.
did get me the first place, but it's a little bit messy. Now I am not building AI agent that have in the main workflow so many blocks. Okay, it's difficult to understand what's going on here.
And one thing to consider too, especially for the people that are new to MindStudio when you're developing AI agents. Shay, can you bring that back up? When you first start an agent, you start with a default 2 blocks, a start block and an end block. And all those blocks that Shay showed you, all of them have a different purpose. You might have an input block that's meant to gain information, like what is your name, what is your URL, your LinkedIn URL, like input gathering data. You might have a logic block that's meant to say, okay, if this happens, then do this. If this happens, then do that, right? You might have a display block, which is meant to just show you like what is the output going to look like, or a run function block. The idea is all these different blocks have different configurations on the back end, but are specific for a type of workflow that you're trying to create. So I say that all to say is that when you first create your agent, you have a start block and you have an end block, and in between is what you're building. So make sure to put stop gates as you build. So test it as you go, because otherwise you do what I did when I first started. I tried to build something so complex, and then it doesn't run, and I have to go through the debugger to try to figure out what's working, what's broken. So another best practice is introducing stop gates as you're building your agent. It also gives you the opportunity to be able to absorb what you're doing, and in my opinion, it gives you more creativity, because you're just like, okay, well, actually, now that I know it can do this, what if we add this? What if we add that? So start small, grow it from there. And that was the question from Joseph. Joseph, I want to give you an opportunity. Are we answering your question, or did I completely go down a rabbit hole?
No, that was good. I think that's the piece, is fighting complexity. So you're not becoming difficult to debug, but you're also creating kind of a snapshot or a sub workflow that actually is reusable.
Yeah, and here's the other best practice, and Shais has done this multiple times, is take advantage of that debugger. So the button to right from the Explorer there, that right there gives you all the information that you need. And this is especially when you're new to reading the debugger and kind of interpreting what this means. The way I've learned to take advantage of this is I would copy this into ChatGPT and basically say, explain to me quickly what's broken, what's not right. And that helps me kind of make it more meaningful as I start to absorb the debugger and learn how to really maximize on using that tool as I build my agent. So take advantage of that debugger piece, because it's life-saving, so to speak.
Yeah, and I think that's the two pieces, is design for expert debug versus design for customer ease of use, right? If it's a linear, if it's a simpler flow, they may be able to say, oh, I just need to add an extra file attachment, versus it's so weaved together with some workflows, it becomes impossible without breaking everything.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
It's a great question.
Cool.
Yep.
Yes, continue. I wanted to show them, but I don't have an error here. I'm looking for an error. But when what you mentioned, Sandokan, that when you do have an error in the debugger, give me one more second here. Try to find. If we have errors, then we can also use the generate insight. This is a tool that MindStudio gives you. If you don't understand code, okay, but if you don't understand logs, then that's a real problem. You don't know how to approach this error. So their generate insight is trying to explain in simple words what is working and what is not. So it's useful. I'm using it a lot when I'm creating custom function and then something is not working, but I saw that in the test that it was working. So what's going on? And you see, there is an explanation, like Sandokan said. It's like an AI that analyzed the log. The same what Sandokan said. It's like copying the log to ChatGPT and asking him what's going on here. And this is the same, but it's already built into MindStudio. So it's another useful tool when you build it like Lego, and you got the three first block working. Now you added the fourth, and it's not working. This is a best way to debug it. You know that three of them are working, and now you have the insights, and you can play with that. And most of the time, it's very clear what's written here.
Yeah, and Shay makes a good point too, right? Because here, like MindStudios, you can look at it as a one-stop shop solution, right? At the end of the day, when I was first getting into MindStudio, not being aware of that feature clearly caused me to have an extra step. I still was able to troubleshoot my issue, and it did the same thing. But Shay makes a good point, right? It's an all stop
One-stop shop.
solution within MindStudio where you can not just use the debugger, but then you can have it analyze what is going on with the tools, your workflow, so that you can make those adjustments.
By
All
the way,
right.
it's an AI
Yep.
agent. It's an AI agent of MindStudio. Just it integrated to the platform. Like the generate function is an AI agent. Generate a prompt is an AI agent. All of this is AI agent that working for MindStudio platform.
Yep.
Next.
All right, next one from Joanna. One, she loves the way Shay puts the agents down, drawing them on the charts before actually developing them. So the question is what tools do you use or recommend for visualizing and
I will
mapping
give it.
workflows?
I love
Yeah.
Draw.io. I'll share it in the link. It's free. This platform is free. I'm copying the link. 1 second. And put it in the chat.
While he's doing that too, think of another solution could be Lucid Charts is another example of a platform similar to this platform for drawing diagrams. Visio is also another platform. The idea here, especially if you guys are have worked in service delivery, it works really well for me. I spend a lot of time building workflow architectures for clients using what is my current state and what do we want future state to look like, right? So the concept of here is of let's develop the high level workflow. You can get very, very granular and very complex, but it also, you could get lost in the messaging. It just depends on who your audience is and how comfortable they are with the concept of workflow diagrams. But these three different platforms give you the opportunity to be able to kind of design it before you actually go build it. Also, good recommendation, especially when you're building this out for clients, to give them a visual of what their agent does at the end of the day, some kind of a visual map.
Absolutely. I never start building an AI agent, meaning a complex one, without drawing it as a concept before it. This is the tactical planning. And I show it to the customer, and then we have to agree this is what we are building. Okay? Because if the functionality here is not right, I put human in the loop. If the customer tell me, I don't want human in the loop, send the emails. So I'm wasting time building this kind of functionality. It was 6 blocks to create this functionality. So this is a best practice when what Sandokan said, when you're coming to a customer and you design it and you want, after the design, you want to show him, let's agree on this infrastructure, and this is the schema, and I'll start building those blocks. Now you can always change it, but this is something to start with, and it helps me visualize what I'm building. Most of the time I have the ability to see it before I draw it, but after a few days, I might forget what I've done here. Now you have in MindStudio the option to put notes. You know that. Let's go to the diameter. I'm using it so I won't forget what I've done inside here. For example, you have the option to add note tool and have labels, which is great. But if you already created it in the here in the drawing, then you can save the colors, for example, or this one will be analyze feedback will be, in my example, it will be all those blocks in the customer sentiment. It will be all the blocks in the customer sentiment, for example. So it's very easy for me later to come back to the AI agent and remember when I come, wow, I'm driving him crazy. Yeah, here you can see it. I put it in green here. This is the feedback customer feedback, and I put the same color in the drawing. So it makes sense. Those 3 blocks here this logic block in this drawing. Okay, it makes it easy to understand and then explain it to the customer. Very useful.
Joanna, did we answer your question? Any? Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. So so good to see that, you know, rather than sort of have it all in your head, especially when you're presenting to your client. And like you say, you know, if they don't want human in the loop, it's a really good example that you're not going to waste your time there with that step. So thank you so much.
And the other reason why that's good, especially when you're working with clients, I mean, it gives validation, right? At the end of the day, the client can't come back and say, "Oh, I didn't know," right? Because you did it together. You built out the workflow together. You're asking strategic clarifying questions in terms of how we move from one block to the next. And then the other piece of it too, I'm sure you guys have run into this. Anytime I work in technology and doing implementations, my biggest stress point is trying to get leadership to get end users, the everyday users that are actually doing the work to talk with me to build out these architecture diagrams, because executives want something amazing. They want everything in the kitchen sink, but they don't realize how that impacts the everyday user when they're just going to do what they need to do. So these workflow diagrams make it very clear. At the end of the day, this is where we are today. This is where we want to go tomorrow. And then how do we build that workflow? And so what Shay does is definitely valuable. It saves time in the long run, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. It's awesome. Thank you.
All right.
Great.
Yeah, one last question in the category of the workflows, and then I'll give a quick open option for anybody that has any questions before we move into the next section. So this one comes from Willie, and the question is, do you always need to set up a workflow using JSON for it to run successfully?
If I'm doing, let me share it again. Share. Yes. If I'm doing the complex run here, let's move it a little bit. I'll delete this one. Sorry to keep it.
While he's
clean.
pulling that up, just a quick note for you guys is, I mean, the answer is it really depends, right? Like, because you can use regular blocks like the user input and generate text block and things like that to run an agent. I guess ask yourself the question of, you know, when you want to pass structured data between blocks, for example, right? So arrays, key value pairs, or if you want to run loops or sub workflows, for example, right? If you want to integrate like external APIs, right? I think the big one is like structured data. So when you're asking yourself the question of what is the output, like take those things into consideration as you're building.
There is 3 modes in iteration. The auto extract will extract even from, I think, from a variable that is text. But the string array or the JSON array must have a certain structure, and it's not only JSON, it should be an array. If I want to send to the function an array built like that, and I'll show you again, this is the array here. It will fail. It doesn't know how to work with a variable different than this kind of array. This is an array of queries. No headers, no more curly braces, nothing. It should be an array. But this is more accurate because each one of them is an item. And as we said in the demonstration here, when we're setting this variable, then we put here item. Item is a line in this variable. So if I had 100 rows there, items in this JSON, it will query 100 times. So this is a functionality with JSON array, but you can use auto extract with a plain variable, and it will understand what it will understand. It can take all the variable or some of the variable. It's not accurate. If I want to, let's say I wanted to create 5 pictures and I wanted to send 5 different queries, I don't want him to mix between them. Then I will certainly use it as an array, and I will create a function. I can share it with you. It's very simple. This one, it's building a array, very short function, taking a file, a JSON file, and creating it as an array, so it will be valid for the workflow. Very simple. By the way, I didn't write this one as well. I used the generator. I told him I'm trying to send a variable that looks like that. I copied it from another run from MindStudio. I reversed engineered one of their AI agent. I saw that this is the way that they are sending. I copied it, came to the generator and told him I have this JSON. I want to have this kind of output for querying the RAG. Okay.
Hey guys, so that is the last of the questions for the first topic, but I want to open the mic real quick if there's a question that was missed. Igor?
Oh, first of all, thank you for the presentation. I don't have I have many questions, but I have a comment because I have to leave in about 5 minutes. So, but I will take 2 minutes. The comment is about the format because you asked what feedback can we give you about the format. So I'm sure you were in situations when your spouse would come with you to the store and they start smelling perfumes and ask you your opinion. Now, now imagine the situation when you smell 25 to 30 perfumes at the same time, and then an hour later, your spouse asks you, "What do you think about the first one?" So, why I'm saying this, for my opinion, if I am a persona, somebody who represents a certain person, to me, the way I felt about this is a fire hose mode where you have an agent followed by the next agent with an increased complexity, and then the third agent with an increased complexity squared. So your presentation had a great, awesome awesome agents, and you demonstrated the charts, which very helpful for me. But what was happening to me? I can't listen to the presentation when Shay says, "Pay attention, pay attention." So I can either pay attention or write my question. I cannot do both. And so when you go from one agent to another, and another agent is an increased complexity, and you showing all these great things that you've done, I lose the context because my brain is still thinking about the first agent. And guess what happens by the fourth agent? My brain starts perceiving it. So because that increased complexity built up these questions in my mind, I'm still working in the past mode. So I'm going to be very short. This is just my, different people do different ways, different people perceive different ways. But the thing is, if your audience, you said, who's my audience? But if your audience are people who are new to MindStudio, I think you're going to lose them at hello. Because if you show them these agents, and especially the ones when you call from an application, that's a very interesting agent, but complex. It's increased complexity. So guess what happens to the person who is new to MindStudio? What kind of question do they have? Are they going to have the pointed questions? Probably no. So I'm going to finish with this. Thank you so much for the presentation. Those are great agents. I can't wait to look at them. But for me, the person like me would probably want to ask pointed questions about each agent. And then, what happened in this run block? What happened? Can you go back? And then questions, more deep questions like the ones we're asked right now. They're really deep questions. I would probably wait until the end, because what can happen is, what happens if the person cannot sit through 2 hours and they sit through one and they cannot ask a question? Their turn is gone. So what you're doing, basically, you're leaving it to the end, but the context is lost. So that's my impression. But regardless of this, you guys did a great job, and I can't wait to look at those agents and learn more from them.
No, thank you,
very
Igor.
much.
I'm going to address it just for the recording, and I appreciate that, Igor. And here's the reality, guys, right? I think at the end of the day, we're anticipating that that approach might be a bit tough. So we'll take a quick vote at the end just for for the purposes of this, of how you guys really feel about it. I think the reason we wanted to take that approach initially is because, one, this particular presentation was very comprehensive, right? And so the idea, you know, if we've jumped on other calls in the past, sometimes when there are questions that come in the middle of the presentation, sometimes it gets a little bit derailed, or we start to go different directions, and then there's no continuity. And then when you're trying to come back to what you originally spoke about, it gets lost in translation. And so that's why our thought was, how about we do this? Let's put a form. When I give the 5-minute heads up that we're about to wrap up, that is your opportunity to quickly jot down the question. Or if you already had the form up, you can write the questions as we're going for that particular section so that you don't forget the question, and then we can address it at the end, right? This is not to say that it is the only way forward. It is just one of those, let's try something new just to see if that is an acceptable approach or not. And Igor, that's a fair observation. And I appreciate the way that you delicately positioned it, because that's what we're looking for, right? Like candid conversation, but constructive conversation that helps us figure out, like, as we move forward, how do we do this? Because there's a number of people in this group, this MindStudio group, that are going to be doing the same thing, where they're going to be starting their own workshop, right? So we're trying to learn from one another and figure out what is the acceptable approach for training individuals. And it may just be, hey, you know what? We need to ensure that we just give enough time for folks to ask questions. It's just, sometimes that gets a bit tough too, because you might have 3, 4, 5 people raising their hands, and before you know it, 25 minutes have gone by before we can transition to the next topic as well. So
I hate
there's
those
a
things as
balance.
well,
Yeah.
and I totally feel how you felt about this. I'll leave, but I'll leave you with this. When you say 5 minutes break, so keep in mind that you're not the only one who is having the break. The people who are listening are also might be having the break, and that could be cutting into their time to write the questions.
Yep. No,
So
I appreciate that.
keep in
Yeah.
mind. Okay, thank
So
you very much.
let's do this real quick for everyone. Just raise your hand. Thoughts about that approach? Like, do we all kind of agree with the same sentiment of this whole concept of wait towards the end to jot down your questions and then address them later? Is that completely like did not work for you guys, bad idea? And be honest, thumbs up or thumbs down, or put it in the chat, because that's what we want, is the real-time feedback. Because at the end of the day, we want to be able to make that kind of adjustment as we move forward, but also coach and teach our cohort members the same concept that, hey guys, we tried this out, it either worked or it didn't work. What are your thoughts? Throw it in the chat.
Yeah, Sandokan, I kind of echo what Igor has just said. I think in my last comment on the forum, I put something similar about, you know, even having questions after each section has been delivered, so that it can wrap up within that, the context of what we've just been learning about. So, you know, you can continue to teach us more about that depending on what the questions come in. I think that certainly how I learn and absorb things, that would definitely help me much more.
Okay.
Yeah,
The challenge, the challenge.
Just in
So
addition to what,
in oh yeah, yes,
yeah,
Milo,
Go ahead,
please,
Milo.
please.
hey Shay, I was just
Hi.
gonna build upon what Joanna said. I think there's gonna be a middle point. I think what you guys are doing is basically good in terms of making sure the continuity is there, but instead of like cutting off the questions towards the end, you can still have the questions at the end of each topic or each agent, but you need a strong facilitator. Because what happens, what I've noticed in our regular sessions was that all the questions are rapid fire. Some of them are not really on point. So Sandokan, you do a good facilitation where you can actually direct the questions, making sure that the questions that are being asked at the end of that agent are just related to that agent. If there's anything that's not related to that agent, then you can push it at the end. That's how I would go about it.
Yeah, and here's another thing too. I'm sorry, go ahead, Shay. I'll give my note after you.
I was in a workshop that Dimitri led, and there was no facilitator, and they just drove him crazy. He lost his yes, he almost lost his patience. Really, he's a nice guy, but you can't go with the presentation, and he lost concentration. He can't do the presentation if someone is asking something that is not relevant at all, and they are telling a story, 5-minute story about something that they're building. It's not relevant to all the 250 people that are listening here. So this, Sandokan and I thought about it, that we want to do something. First, it's a lot of content. It's more, if I want to go deeper, Igor, I need half a day for sure. If I want to go on each block, at least half a day, and we can check everything and reiterate and build it from scratch. So we are trying, we're learning. We didn't want to get to the situation like Dimitri had, that he couldn't finish the workshop. He didn't reach even half of the information that he was planning to give there, because nobody was there. No one helped him. So this was our challenge.
Yeah, and Vanessa, she actually kind of hit the nail on the head. So I appreciate you reminding me of this, and also coupled with what Shay just said. So for the MindStudio folks, you guys know that the attendance is usually fairly large. We had over 50 people register for this particular event. And we all know that when we throw questions in the chat, it just goes and goes and goes and goes. And then you lose the question at some point. And then whoever is, like Josh sometimes, or Luis, they're trying to like facilitate all the questions, say, oh, there's this question. And so it becomes very complex to be able to figure out, okay, which questions are being asked? When was it asked? What are the commonalities in the questions that are being asked? Are we asking the same question? So Shay and I talked about this, and we said, well, why don't we try something different? Instead of trying to scroll through all the questions and figure out which ones are the ones we want to ask, let's log it all in one sheet and then be able to review it, kind of like we're doing now. Because while, for example, Shay is demoing, I can review the questions and figure out at a quick glance, what are the common questions. So there might be this opportunity where we say, we bring forward the opportunity to ask the questions just after, let's say, the first topic, for example. So we allocate 15 minutes after the first topic, review the questions in a structured kind of format where we have me as a mediator, so to speak, go through it, then transition to the next one, versus do kind of what we did right now, where even though I give you guys the opportunity to write the questions with that 5-minute block before we transition, so you don't feel you don't feel like you lost your note, we can skip the wait till the end and do it right now. But I'm glad we're having this conversation, because that's how we're kind of learning and figuring out, okay, how we're going to do this. So, but I appreciate Vanessa saying that, because that was actually kind of what Dimitri and myself were like thinking about. We're like, well, how are we going to ask all these questions? Because again, we had over 50 people register for this, and we know when you guys watch Dimitri and Luis's videos, everything gets lost in translation easily. So, but that's perfect feedback, and definitely appreciate that. Let me go into the second group of questions, if you guys are good with that. That way I make sure that we're getting all of our questions answered. Okay, so for the second category, it was again in regard to custom functions. The first question was, will we email this out to MindStudio folks? The answer is yes. So it's one of two ways. We're going to put it in the Slack channel. So everyone that is already part of the MindStudio cohorts, you're going to get it. But also, if you guys included your email in the form, we're going to use your email address to be able to send you guys the presentation. So if you haven't submitted your email, if you want to go to that form real quick and just put in your email address, then we'll send you guys the recording and the presentation deck for sure.
And we allow you to copy and use it whatever you like. No problem. You can use it for your presentation, for teaching, whatever you need.
Okay, next question comes from Joseph, and it's just, what is your thoughts on custom functions and or sub workflows as a library principle, either for a individual or across the team, versus continuing to write purpose build? Joseph, can you clarify that just a smidgen?
Yeah, I think Shay was kind of speaking to this. He thinks about something that may be used again. So he's like, this would be a good sub workflow. This would be a good custom function. That could become your individual library, versus you could be sharing best practices across a community or, say, the alumni group. It's always a nuance of not invented here and I have to go and dive into someone else's code, or I'm reinventing something that I could have just taken off the shelf?
I'm trying first. There are more than 100 AI agents of MindStudio.
Yep.
I reverse engineer and copy each and every function or workflow that I can use.
Yep.
Efficiency, I'm saving time. I have a Google Sheet written, this is for generating picture, this is for generating video, this function does trimming, this function does accumulations. So I have a database with custom workflows and custom functions, and I can use it for myself. Now, at my company, where we are collaborating, yes, when I'm creating an agent with some custom function, then I will share it with one of my colleagues that he can save time, because many of these functions are not working for the first time, and I have to use ChatGPT, and sometimes it takes me 2 hours. Now, Joseph, it's a lot of time, and you're wasting a lot of time, and you don't want to waste it again, or someone else waste it. So, and we're trying, if you follow me on LinkedIn, when I'm loading my videos of avatars with the AI agent, I always share the AI agent. So people can take them, use them, remix them, and you have inside workflows and custom functions. So this is what we're trying to create inside the community, share information, and we all rise together. Okay, because you think, or you might be thinking of other custom functions that I didn't think of, and you might solve my problem. So it makes sense to share knowledge.
Hey guys,
Yeah, I
so
think
real
that's the
quick, just
navigation piece of how to share it in a curated way so it doesn't just become unwieldy, but it also isn't, it's a balance, I guess.
Yes, it's a
Yeah.
balance, but I use the database like a Google Sheet to understand where is what, because I won't remember after 100 agents, I won't remember where is this custom function.
okay,
So
guys,
you have
just
to
real
you have
quick.
to index it.
We are at the bottom of the hour, so that is the 2-hour mark, but Shay and I are happy to stay and continue. There's only like 4 questions still left, so we can walk through those. If you guys would like to stay longer, happy to do that. If you guys need to drop, then we can always just respond via email.
Offline.
So let me know if you guys are good with hanging on for, say, another 10, 15 minutes, and we'll just go through the final like 4 questions that we got roughly. Good to go? Yes? Okay. So the next, thank you for that question too, Joseph. Did we answer your question? Anything outstanding?
No, that's good. I think that's just kind of the evolving nature of MindStudio. What are these
Mhm.
sub teams? What is on the global side? It's a balancing act for sure.
Definitely. Okay, the next question comes from Milo. Is there a history of changes in the function block where you can see how it was improved or corrected?
No, I don't know that there is something like that, but what I'm doing,
Yeah.
Milo, best practice,
Yeah.
is before I change a function, if it's working, I will copy it, and then I'll change the copied function. I do it the same with blocks. I want to show you something that I do a lot. 1 second, please. Let's say you're building something and you want to change this block. You already have here, you generated a prompt and you want to alter it, and you didn't publish it. If you publish it, you have version in here.
Yeah.
Okay. Each time you publish, you have a version, you can go back. But if I don't want to publish it, I just want to try another angle, I will copy it, paste it. Now I have a backup here.
Mhm.
Now I can change this one. I do it the same with custom functions. I will duplicate it. I have a duplication now. Now I can try and change this one. This is a good practice, not losing your current working state. Of course, you can publish it, then you'll have the same outcome, but this is faster. This is much faster. I even do things like that. This is working with Gemini. I'll change this one. Okay, this is Gemini. Okay, I'll change this one to another one. Here, use this AI model. Now, okay, it's not, I didn't make any change, but if I change the prompt and I'm changing the concept and using another model, then I have another combination here. Not only the prompt was changed, but the model as well. So there might be a combination that will work better. But this is a good practice to copy a block, put it aside, and try iterate with this prompt and model settings and maybe the temperature here. And I have different combination. I might have 5 different blocks with different combination, and then I will copy them. I change it. It's working. It's nice. It's better. Then I will copy it. Let's say it's working. Okay, again, copy, paste, and then I will change the name, not the icon, rename, and I'll call it toaster 1.1. This is 1.1 version, 1.2 version. Okay. I use it a lot. It helps me to advance my AI agent. And as Sandokan said in the beginning, I won't start like this. I will build something very simple, and then after it's working, I'll try to improve it this way. I will copy block, put it aside, and then improve the current block and see the outcome.
Thank you. That's faster
Milo, did we
than what
answer
I
your question?
currently do. Yeah, it's faster than what I currently do, which is cut and paste in Word, like changes in prompt and what I did change and what have you.
Efficiency. Yes,
Yeah.
I learned the hard way.
Thank you.
Milo.
All right, next question comes from Willie, and it's just really just more of a statement, but appreciate this feedback. Would love to see more on this topic, so more around creating custom functions. So we can probably focus more, a little bit more detail in terms of, yeah, like our approach that we want to take. If you guys think about the methodology Shay and I want to do is thinking of layers to a cake, right? Simple to complex, but giving you guys the high level overview and then breaking it down. So layers to a cake is kind of the approach we want to do. So as we develop these, that would be the approach. And that could be the approach also when we start talking about additional custom functions. Willie, did we answer your question or anything clarifying on that particular question?
No, that was it. Custom functions is one of those things I haven't used much. We didn't touch on it a whole lot inside of the boot camp. And so I just wanted to mention, I would love to see more about this, just to kind of, start high level and then do a deep dive. And when would you use functions, things of that nature?
We can do a workshop, a full workshop only on custom function, and demonstrate the integration with custom function, and maybe all the functions, the small functions that we alter data. But it really takes some time, because if we go to this kind of workshop, it's more hands-on, less concepts and tactics, but it can be done. If you like, we can do a workshop on that, solely on custom function.
I think we just put that in our log. Okay, guys, before we transition to the final topic, I want to give anybody an option to ask any other questions around custom functions before we transition. Going once, going twice.
I had a quick question, but I don't know if it's totally related to the function. It's just related to the message. Because I saw that you were sending stuff to clients. And so is that coming from MindStudio, or is there a custom function that lets it come from your email?
There is a platform called Resend. It's a platform that enables you to buy a domain, a custom domain. Let's say you have a domain for your customer or your own, and then they help you configure it to be a gateway for sending emails from this domain. Okay?
Resend?
Resend. Yes, I'll put it in the chat. Now, I could ask MindStudio, I will do it. I could ask MindStudio to create it, but now that I'm very comfortable with API, I just created it. It took me half an hour, but now I have a function that is working and sending emails. So until MindStudio get there, their service is good, really. Sean created 2 custom functions for Gamma. Gamma is creating a carousel, PowerPoint, and he created it in 3 days, and 11 labs he returned in 1 week. So they are fast. But if you don't want to wait. If there is a platform with APIs, it's very easy to give the builder the example of the API and ask it to connect to this platform. So I'll put it in the chat in a second. And I can share the function with you, of course.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions regarding functions before we transition? Okay, so let's move into the final topic, which was the custom interface portion of the workshop. This comes from Vanessa. Can you pull an HTML template you like into the custom interface?
Luis from MindStudio demonstrates something like that. I can find the video, but what is done, he showed a way to copy the CSS, which is in fact, this is the design of the HTML. And then he copied the CSS from the custom HTML and brought it into the MindStudio generator, vibe coding. And he told him, I want the page to look like that. And it is working. Yes, you can copy the CSS format from custom HTML and bring it to MindStudio. It's working.
Copy or import. Yeah. That answer your question, Vanessa? The next question, actually, this is the last question for this category, is from Joseph. Have you easily implemented color codes, fonts, etc., as a global variable for brand consistency?
What do you mean as a global variable, please?
My thought is you have like these, you know, good GUI templates or these interfaces, you know, is there cohesion between them versus it's just pasting another image, or versus you're actually leveraging logos, you're leveraging things the company wants to use consistently. So it designs it for you when you say what the form needs, right? It pulls in the colors, it pulls in the fonts, logos, pieces that are part of the corporate branding, or it can just follow a template, I guess, you upload.
I didn't see an option to load a template, but there is an option inside. It's recent update. I'll try to open it.
Yeah, someone shared a lot of good examples on the Slack. It's just more of a, you know, there's lots of ways to do it between Canva or, you know, different images versus a company may say, I already have a form, I want it to look like this, so it's consistent.
If I have a form, then I can take it to ChatGPT and as a picture and ask it to take out all the
Describe it
color
or,
scheme.
yeah.
Color scheme, for example. But what Luis showed is another option. Do I share my screen? You see the MindStudio? There is an option. Yeah, there is an option, extract style guide, import style guide. So there
Okay,
is
so
an
then in
option.
theory, you could receive the style guide from the customer from your past project. So now you're building on consistency. Perfect.
Yes. This is new. Last week is something new. You can find it under Luis. I'll put it Luis profile, LinkedIn profile. You should follow him. You see, this is the guy, the palette, typography.
Perfect. Yeah, I just must have missed it, so I haven't tested it out yet.
It's new. This is new.
Great.
3 dots here, import, export. Just new.
All right.
Okay.
That was the end of the questions for that. The rest of it was feedback, which is great feedback. So a combination of show profiler so people can compare the models, right? So putting that into part of our workshop, taking questions throughout each portion, which kind of what we're talking about maybe making an adjustment to that. And Joanna, I think you made a good call out here of using the Q&A function in Zoom. I think one idea that we had originally with the form was to also build an AI agent that can analyze all the feedback and be able to give us patterns and things like that. I'd probably have to look into the Q&A functionality in Zoom where we can export that or have an agent actually review all that as well. But the intent for the form was to have an agent review, analyze the stuff, give us feedback, maybe recommendations on that. That's why we kind of dumped it into the form, but we're, you know, learning as you go, right? So so thank you for that feedback. And then Willie, great presentation. Would love to zoom out a little bit on the workflows and the functions in the future presentations. Yeah, so this is all great feedback, guys. Definitely appreciate it. I think, you know, some lessons learned here as we move forward. I think one of the things that we're trying to figure out at the end of the day is just obviously commitment, right? Like this was a Sunday presentation, so we appreciate you guys skipping the NFL, games to come watch and hang out with us. But the other question is like, would weekdays or week afternoons or week evenings be a better option than the weekend, for example, or does Sunday work for you guys? Like those kind of things we're kind of playing around with. But the other thing too is like, clearly 2 hours, one can go fast. And I think Shay did a really good job of going through the presentation. But I think as we start to learn to pace ourselves in our presentations, we'll start consuming the time a bit more. We had more time available than we had originally planned, right? So we'll learn all of this as we go, but this might help us to figure out on our agenda, what do we need to scale back if it's going to be a 2-hour call, if it's going to be a 4-hour workshop or a half-day workshop, that kind of a thing. So we really appreciate, guys. Next steps for us, like I said, is we will give a copy of the presentation and the recording link. We'll email it to you guys as well if you guys had provided your email. Shay and I will debrief either today or tomorrow and kind of talk through this, and based on the feedback and things that we've seen here, figure out, okay, what's that next topic going to be, and also kind of what our approach is going to be, right? Because a lot of folks that we know that join any of these calls are already OGs from MindStudio. They were part of cohort 1 or cohort 2. So a lot of this is maybe basic knowledge, but at the same time, like I said, we had over 50 people register for this event, and we're trying to also be mindful of, let's maybe take the positioning of what if you were just brand new to MindStudio and do not know the basics. So maybe we break out presentations, like I said, and say, okay, guys, we're doing this workshop, but this is geared towards people that have no clue what MindStudio is. Or here's one for basics of MindStudio, but it's for anybody who has the foundational knowledge, right? So I think that's one thing that we learned, I guess, right, in terms of communication, and figure out how do we position these presentations so that, one, we're not wasting your guys' time, but also making sure it's meaningful for you guys and you guys can actually take value from these presentations versus join it and be like, well, crap, I already knew all that stuff, so we'll learn this as we go. But with that being said, any final thoughts, questions? Yeah, Milo.
Just a final suggestion. I'm pretty sure you're gonna get the lessons learned on this one. If you can post it as well to our channel, Train the Trainers, because as you said, all of us are understanding how to present this, and the lessons that has been exposed here is really good in making a very concrete, very concise training session.
For sure.
Now, what are you guys going to do, though, when your feedback is, can we wait till the end of the presentation to ask all the questions? Just joking. All right, guys, we appreciate your guys' time. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you very much.
Like I said, Shay and I will talk through this, and we'll start putting more of these workshops in the future. And you guys are on the Slack channel too, so feel free to send us a note if you didn't have a chance to either ask a question, or if you have an idea for another topic and you happen to like the Shay and Sando show, so to speak, and you want us to present on something, let us know, because we certainly don't want it to just be a one way where we come up with the ideas. We definitely want to make this a collective effort with the group. So, and if you guys haven't connected on LinkedIn, please connect with us on LinkedIn as well.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks
Happy
so
Sunday.
much. Good to
Bye.
see you. Bye.
Bye.